Hi everyone. My name is Kiana Young, and today I want to discuss a little bit about gay marriage. I am going to talk a little bit about the definition of gay marriage, the history, federal laws involving gay people or homosexuals. Some of the dilemmas that we have going on in the current present day, and a little bit of my references. Okay. So, the definition of gay marriage includes two partners of the same gender, as in same sex marriage or gay marriage. So, it includes two males or two females, who are wanting to engage in a licensed marriage. Okay. So, a little bit of the history. 1970 was when gay marriage came out, and that is when they started to fight for their marriage and to fight for equality overall. So, in 1972, there were two college students by the name of John Baker and James McConnon. Sorry. They were two college students who applied for a marriage license in Minnesota and were denied. And the reason being why they were denied was because they didn't fit the description of what a normal marriage should be. And of course, what that should be would be male and female, as to give them the title of husband and wife. Similarly, there was another case in 1993, Bear versus Luane. There were two guys as well who applied for a marriage license in Hawaii, and they were denied. And so there have been multiple couples during this time frame where they were denied in Hawaii, and in Hawaii they have an equal protection law. And so Hawaii Supreme Court realized that the ban on gay marriage may actually be in violation of that constitution. 3 years later from there, developed the Defense of Marriage Act of 1996, or Doma. Now, what Doma is a federal law that denies federal recognition of a same-sex marriage, and authorizes states to refuse to recognize the same marriage licensed in another state. So, in other words, one state can recognize a marriage as legal and licensed, but if that same married couple goes to another state who does not recognize them as legal or legally married, then there's a dilemma. And so what this act does is it says that the federal law does not give gay people equality rights as far as marriage goes, but it allows states to determine for themselves which, if they want to recognize gay marriage or not. So, yes, history continued. So, I'm going to skip a few years. Obviously, there have been many cases where gay marriages have been denied, or gay people fighting for their rights, or homosexual people fighting for their rights. In 2004, some Republicans, including President George W. Bush, called for the U.S. Constitution to be amended in favor of gay marriage. And then a few years later, 8 years later, Barack Obama was the first sitting president to actually endorse gay marriage. Even after that, today the battle still continues to expand, even though there are federal laws that actually protect homosexuals. Here are just a few. So, as I named before, Doma is one of them, who protects the homosexuals as far as marriage goes in certain states. So that means that homosexuals have to do their homework and have to know which states to go to reside in order to feel accepted and to feel welcomed. There are human rights, which human rights are inherited to all humans. So regardless of your nationality, your place of residence, your sex, your color, religion, regardless, you are a human being. So you inherit these rights as a human being, the rights to equality. Speaking of equality, there is the Equality Act, and so the Equality Act provides a consistent and explicit discrimination protections for LGBTQ people across key areas of life, including employment, housing, credit, education, public spaces and services, federal funding programs, and jury service. And so this is a very, very important act in the federal law system, because what it does is it says that everyone is equal regardless, and you are protected. You cannot be discriminated in employment, which is a really, really big key factor. The majority of gays or homosexuals are discriminated mainly in employment. And second would be applying for marriage licenses, which would be, the education, the credit, the public spaces and services. With that being said, gay marriages, when they are in public, depending on, where they reside, they have to be careful of how they act, because there are people who are very discriminatory. With that being said, there's Consumer Non-Discrimination Act. So what this act does is it amends the Civil Rights Act in 1964 to prohibit discrimination based off of sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity. And so this one is a really, really another important one, because this is also stating back in 1964 when it started that we are not to discriminate against people who identify themselves as transgender or gay or homosexual. This specific act protects them from that. It's sad to say we do still have some dilemmas that we have going on in the current day and in the current present day. So with that being said, some of the dilemmas, the main top three would be discrimination, because a lot of gays who go to apply for gay marriages are just automatically discriminated against just because of the fact that they are homosexuals. It is a major fact, and it plays a key role in homosexuals being approved for a marriage license or denied for a marriage license. There are public facilities, and with that, public facilities, gay people who go in and they want to go to the store, or they want to go use the restroom, they are being judged. And to go in and be judged, it's not the same. There's also ethically relations, whether to say, is it right for gay marriage to happen, or is it wrong for gay marriage to happen? And that goes back to people with morals and their specific religions. If they are religious, what do they necessarily believe? But I would have to say my overall question boils down to, when is equality going to come into play? Since homosexuals are humans as well, they just express themselves in a different manner. Not to say that they are not normal, but they are humans just like we are. So that would also be another dilemma, is when is equality going to come into play? When is everybody going to be equal, and everybody is going to have the same rights, contribute the same amount of energy? That is pretty much my presentation, and if you thank you so much for listening.